The game of life is a game of boomerangs. What you send out, you receive. What you declare, you experience. And I am here to tell you, I became a multi-billionaire the moment I said it, with just one declaration. You see, the spoken word is powerful. Words are not mere sounds. They are vibrational commands that pierce through time and space. When I declared, I am a multi-billionaire, I was not begging, I was not wishing, I was not hoping, I was commanding. I spoke from the kingdom of heaven within me, the place of divine substance, the infinite supply that knows no lack. In that sacred moment, I was not speaking to the world, I was speaking through it. I was not speaking to man, I was speaking to the law. The law does not reason, the law does not argue, the law only says, yes, yes to your fear, yes to your faith, yes to your lack, yes to your wealth. It is impersonal, and the moment I aligned my words with unwavering belief, the law said, yes. To my declaration I said it, and I believed it. Not with clenched fists or anxious thoughts, but with calm assurance. I knew that every atom in the universe would now conspire to reflect back to me what I had planted in the soil of the spirit. I didn't wait for the bank account to prove it. I didn't look to the outer world for permission. I didn't ask for evidence because I was the evidence. The word is the evidence, and faith is the title deed. I walked as a multi-billionaire. I spoke as a multi-billionaire. I gave as a multi-billionaire. And most importantly, I thought as a multi-billionaire. I released every thought of poverty, every word of defeat, every memory of struggle. I wiped them from the tablet of my subconscious with one swift stroke of truth. There is no power in lack. There is only one power, and that power flows through me now as limitless supply. I turned from appearances. I turned from fear. I turned from doubt. The world said, be realistic. But Spirit said, be faithful. The world said, you have to hustle. But Spirit said, you only need to declare. And so I declared it. Not once, not timidly, not secretly. I declared it boldly and with joy. I am a multi-billionaire by divine right, in perfect ways under grace. You see, wealth is not earned. Wealth is revealed. It is not outside of you, waiting to be chased. It is within you, waiting to be recognized. Every person is walking around with a golden mine within their soul. But most are so busy digging in the dirt of conditions that they forget the treasure is already theirs. But I remembered who I was. I remembered that I am a child of the infinite, that my words shape worlds, that my beliefs sculpt my reality, and I refused to speak a single word against my prosperity. I refused to tell stories of how hard it is. I refused to agree with the world's narrative of lack and struggle. Instead, I began to speak the truth that money flows to me freely, endlessly, easily. That opportunities find me, that wealth rises up to meet me, that I am magnetic to luxury, abundance, and joy. And let me tell you what happened. Doors opened where there were only walls. Ideas came that felt like lightning in my bones. People appeared who had the keys I didn't even know I needed. Because that's what the law does, it moves. It organizes. It obeys the voice of the one who knows. And the moment I spoke, the moment I declared that I was what I desired, the shift began. The vibration shifted. The atmosphere around me changed. Not just in some spiritual sense, but tangibly, visibly, materially. My phone began to ring. Emails came in with contracts, collaborations, commissions. Unexpected checks arrived in the mail. But more than that, I felt rich. I was rich. The billions were not in the numbers. The billions were in the awareness. And that awareness had now become flesh. You see, the outer is always the echo of the inner. You cannot be a billionaire on the outside if you're bankrupt on the inside. So I nourished my inner world. I fed it truth. I fed it beauty. I fed it praise. I lived in the feeling of already done. I visualized wealth not as something I chased, but something I already possessed and expressed. Every time a fearful thought came, I replaced it with a declaration. Divine supply flows to me in avalanches of abundance. There is no delay in the divine. The money I seek is seeking me now. I made those words my companions. They were my silent affirmations as I walked, my whispered truths as I fell asleep, my constant agreement with the invisible. And the more I agreed, the more it appeared. Because agreement is power. Agreement is creation. When your conscious mind and subconscious mind agree, miracles break forth into matter. So yes, I became a multi-billionaire the moment I said it. Because I said it and meant it. Because I said it and acted on it. Because I said it and never contradicted it. I stopped talking about what I couldn't afford. I stopped laughing at rich people jokes. I stopped rehearsing every money wound I had ever endured. Instead, I chose a new identity. Wealthy, worthy, whole. And that identity shaped my reality. I didn't chase the billions. I became the vibration of billions. And so they came. not to a desperate beggar, but to a powerful co-creator who spoke it into existence. The spoken word is a spiritual law that commands unseen forces into visible form. This is not mere poetic thought, it is law, precise and impersonal as gravity. Every word uttered is a decree. It is a signal sent out into the infinite, and the moment it leaves the lips with conviction, it activates the unseen substance of spirit to take shape in time, space, and matter. There are no idle words in the spiritual realm. Even the seemingly careless statements made in jest or habit carry the weight of law. When a person speaks, they are creating. Whether they create life or death, abundance or poverty, ease or hardship, depends entirely on what they speak and how they believe. The universe, being responsive and obedient, reflects what is spoken into it with faith and emotion. It mirrors back the internal state of the speaker. That is why every declaration is sacred. It is not just communication, it is construction. Words shape the mold into which divine substance is poured. If the mold is one of doubt, lack, or fear, that is what will fill it. If the mold is one of confidence, supply, and peace, that too will be filled. The spiritual law does not discriminate, it only fulfills. When one says, "I am broke," the law does not judge that statement, it simply responds, and the speaker finds themselves more deeply entrenched in financial lack. But if one declares, "I am rich by divine right," and says it with unwavering belief, the law immediately begins to move. It stirs ideas, people, circumstances, and even matter itself to align with that word. The seen is always the offspring of the unseen. The visible world is nothing but a stage upon which the invisible writes its script, and the spoken word is the pen. The power of the word is ancient. Before anything existed, there was the word. The word was not passive. It was not tentative, it was not speculative. It was spoke and galaxies formed. It commanded and oceans gathered. That same power lies dormant in every soul until awakened by understanding. Once awakened, the individual no longer speaks carelessly. They understand that what they say, especially with strong emotion, becomes their reality. The tongue is the rudder of life. It steers the ship into ports of plenty or into storms of despair, depending on the direction it is turned. This is why declarations are so critical. A declaration is not a wish, it is not a request, it is not a prayer in the begging sense. It is an assertion of what already is in the invisible realm. It is a claim laid upon the riches of spirit. When someone says, "I am a multi-billionaire," they are not lying. They are calling forth what already exists in the mind of God, what already belongs to them in the field of infinite supply. They are stepping into alignment with divine inheritance. They are claiming what was always theirs but lay dormant due to disbelief or ignorance. Spiritual law responds only to certainty. It cannot respond to hesitation, for hesitation is a form of denial. The spoken word, when powered by faith, overrides time and visible facts. It pulls the future into the now. It compresses the delay between belief and result, and this is why some people appear to manifest overnight. It was not overnight. It was the moment their declaration gained enough spiritual weight. It was when they finally said it without inner contradiction. It was when they declared and did not look back. The greatest enemy of manifestation is the double tongue, speaking wealth in the morning and fear in the afternoon. Saying, "I am blessed," and then lamenting about how little is in the bank. Every time one contradicts their declaration, they dilute its power. The spiritual law is precise. It hears what is repeated with conviction, not what is occasionally whispered with doubt. A person who speaks abundance consistently, regardless of outer conditions, will see abundance manifest. The invisible will shape itself according to the pattern of words consistently spoken. Words also imprint upon the subconscious mind. The subconscious does not argue, it accepts what is given to it repeatedly. It then moves to influence behavior, perception, decisions, and attraction, all without conscious effort. That is why someone who continually says, "Money comes to me easily and frequently," will begin to notice opportunities they had previously overlooked. Their subconscious will draw them toward people, places, and ideas that reflect that belief. The world outside them bends to match the script written by their words. The subconscious in turn connects with the universal law, and the ripple expands outward to the whole of creation. The unseen forces, often called angels, guides, spirit, or simply energy, are always waiting to act. They respond instantly to the words spoken with authority. They move without hesitation when they hear a command made from divine certainty. But they do not respond to begging. They do not respond to repeated rehearsals of lack. They cannot violate spiritual law. They only deliver what the individual claims as true through their word. When one says, "I don't know how, but I know it's done," the forces go to work. They arrange meetings, timing shifts, and surprises, all to fulfill the decree spoken. Even physical health and relationships respond to this law. To say, "I am strong," is not denial of a symptom. It is a spiritual correction. It is the soul refusing to agree with the lesser truth of condition, and instead aligning with the higher truth of divine perfection. The same is true for wealth. To say, "I am wealthy," when there appears to be lack, is not delusion. It is spiritual mastery. It is vision beyond sight. It is truth beyond appearance. And there is a secret. The moment the word is spoken, the manifestation begins. Not when you see the money. Not when others agree with you. Not when the world claps. But the very instant the declaration leaves your lips in faith, the process begins. The atoms start to dance. The doors begin to turn. The invisible becomes activated. And though you may not see results immediately, the word has already gone ahead of you. It is forming the world you have spoken. It is shaping reality according to your design. To master life, one must master the tongue. To master the tongue, one must master the thought. To master the thought, one must master the belief. And belief is strengthened by repetition. Say it, and say it again. Say it when you feel it, and say it when you don't. Say it until it feels like truth. Say it until the outer world cannot help but reflect the inner conviction. Speak only what you want to see. Speak as if it is already done. Speak with the assurance of divine partnership. Speak as one who knows the power of their voice. Speak as one who understands that the word is the wand, and the world is the spell it casts. Wealth begins in consciousness, not in circumstance. Every outward manifestation of riches is a reflection of an inward recognition of abundance. The mind is the birthplace of all prosperity. Long before the material appears, the spiritual equivalent must be accepted, assumed, and honored within. To search for wealth outside of oneself without first cultivating the awareness of wealth inside is to build a house without a foundation. It will not stand. True riches begin as invisible thought patterns, embedded beliefs, and inner images that align with divine substance. This is not positive thinking in the shallow sense. It is spiritual law in operation. The law that what is held in consciousness must eventually take form in experience. When a person walks in poverty consciousness, they may temporarily acquire money through effort or struggle, but it will not stay. Their subconscious belief in lack will repel it, sabotage it, or cause them to misuse it. Their outer reality will always betray their inner reality. You can never outperform your beliefs. This is why so many chase money yet never feel rich. They accumulate but do not prosper. They earn yet still fear. Because true wealth is not in the number. It is in the awareness. One person with a deep sense of divine abundance may appear to have little, but they live richly, freely, generously. Another may have millions but live in fear, hoarding, clinging, lacking trust in tomorrow. The difference is consciousness. Consciousness is the soil. Wealth is the harvest. If the soil is barren with limiting beliefs, negative emotions, and scarcity thinking, no matter how many seeds of opportunity fall, they will not grow. But if the soil is rich with expectancy, gratitude, and spiritual knowing, even the smallest idea can bloom into vast abundance. Changing your financial situation begins with changing your inner conversation about money. The stories you tell yourself and others become the blueprint for your reality. Every belief is a command to the universe. If you say, "Money is hard to come by," then so it is. If you say, "Wealth flows to me with ease," then so it shall be. The universe is always listening to your dominant vibration. It is not enough to think a thought once. It must be impressed upon the subconscious through repetition, emotion, and visualization. You must feel wealthy long before the world gives you permission to. This is not fantasy, it is faith, it is spiritual law in motion. You must walk, talk, give, and live from the vibration of, "I already have it." The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically real. If you dwell in the consciousness of abundance, your outer world must eventually reflect it. This is the law of correspondence, as within, so without. As above, so below. There are many who strive, laboring under the false belief that effort equals wealth. But there are countless examples of people who worked tirelessly and still lived in lack. It is not effort that brings prosperity, it is alignment. Alignment with divine ideas, with your true identity as a channel of infinite supply. Wealth consciousness is not earned, it is chosen. You choose to release the old beliefs passed down by fearful generations. You choose to stop agreeing with the media's narrative of economic fear. You choose to stop declaring lack, even when your senses scream otherwise. You choose to remember that the source of your supply is not your job, your business, or any external channel. It is spirit, and spirit is unlimited, unbound, and ever-flowing. To shift into wealth consciousness, one must practice. Begin each day by anchoring into truth. Speak words of abundance. Give thanks for what you have. Imagine what you desire as already fulfilled. Release every thought of comparison. Others' wealth does not reduce yours. The universe is not a pie to be divided. It is an ocean to be accessed. Expand your capacity to receive by expanding your idea of what is possible. Every time you feel lack, ask, what belief is this coming from? Then dissolve it with truth. Declare, I am one with divine substance. I lack nothing. I am rich in ideas, connections, wisdom, and supply. I walk in abundance now. Wealth is not a thing, it is a frequency. Tune in and you will see evidence. Ignore it and you will live in illusion. Money is a shadow of wealth consciousness. It follows the one who no longer chases it. It clings to the one who has made peace with it. It avoids the one who fears it, mistrusts it, or worships it. When your mind is saturated with divine wealth, you become a magnet for all forms of good. Ideas, opportunities, support, and even miracles begin to flow. But it starts inside. Always many try to change the outer world without addressing their inner beliefs. They change jobs, start businesses, move cities, but bring the same poverty consciousness with them, and so the same patterns repeat. They call it bad luck, but it is spiritual law in action. The law is neutral. It does not play favorites. It does not judge, it reflects. If you want to know your consciousness, look at your results. If you want to change your results, upgrade your consciousness. Start by observing how you speak about money. Listen to your casual phrases, your private complaints, your automatic reactions. Are they based in lack or in truth? Do they honor divine supply, or do they echo fear and limitation? Make it your spiritual practice to speak only that which you want to manifest. Cancel every word of lack. Replace every complaint with a declaration. Say, I am wealthy in every area of life. My income is constantly increasing. I receive with ease. I give with joy. I trust in the source of all supply. Speak these things even when the outer has not yet caught up. That is the test of spiritual maturity, to speak truth over appearances. Wealth consciousness is not pretending, it is remembering. It is remembering that abundance is your birthright, not a reward. It is your natural state, not a distant dream. You do not need to earn it, you need to allow it. When your consciousness is aligned with wealth, you will find that the right people show up. The right doors open, the perfect timing unfolds, and most importantly, you no longer feel desperate. You no longer strive or beg. You no longer fear tomorrow. You stand in a place of quiet power, knowing that all you need flows to you from a limitless source. You stop looking for money and start looking from wealth. You begin to see richness in every flower, every conversation, every opportunity. You see money not as paper, but as energy. Energy that obeys your belief. Those who walk in wealth consciousness are generous, not because they have more, but because they know more. They know the law. They know that giving multiplies. They know that releasing creates room. They know that clinging causes contraction. They give with the knowing that it returns increased. They trust the invisible, and so the visible bows to them. Wealth becomes not just something they have, but something they carry. It radiates from them, even before the world sees the evidence, because the real transformation happened within. They became wealthy in thought, in feeling, in identity. And from that point on, the outer world had no choice but to match it. Faith-filled declarations rewrite the subconscious and reshape reality. The subconscious mind is the fertile soil of creation, and every word spoken with conviction is a seed planted within it. What many fail to understand is that the subconscious does not reason or question, it simply receives and executes. It is loyal not to truth or falsehood, but to repetition and emotion. When a person speaks from fear, doubt, or lack, even unconsciously, the subconscious accepts that input as instruction. And because the subconscious is in direct communication with the universal mind, it begins the work of molding external conditions to match the internal imprint. This is why affirmations spoken with true faith have the power to transform lives. They reprogram the deep levels of belief from which all experiences spring. Every time a declaration is made with faith, a command is sent not just to the mind but to the universe itself. That declaration overrides the habitual patterns that may have ruled for years. Old stories of limitation, past traumas, generational beliefs about money or self-worth. They all begin to dissolve in the presence of a new word spoken in faith. Not because the words are magic in themselves, but because they shift the consciousness of the speaker into alignment with spiritual law. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, and when faith is combined with speech, the unseen begins to take form. The subconscious mind is influenced by repetition, imagery, and emotion. When you declare something with passion, confidence, and certainty, the subconscious accepts it far more quickly than if you merely repeat dry phrases. That is why a single declaration made with unwavering faith can accomplish what years of half-hearted affirmations cannot. The energy behind the word matters as much as the word itself. Saying, "I am wealthy," while feeling anxious and doubtful sends mixed signals to the subconscious. But saying, "I am wealthy," with joy, gratitude, and full expectation sends a clear, undiluted message that begins to shift your inner reality. And as within, so without, declarations made in faith do not just work on the mind. They work on the field of energy surrounding your life. Every person moves through the world with an energetic vibration. That vibration is influenced by your dominant thoughts, emotions, and spoken words. A person who constantly declares, "Nothing ever works out for me," vibrates in a frequency of defeat. Opportunities, resources, and relationships are repelled because the energetic message being sent is one of hopelessness. But when someone boldly declares, "Everything always works in my favor," and speaks it repeatedly, that frequency shifts. The outer world responds not because of chance but because of law. The law of vibration and the law of attraction respond to what is spoken and believed. It is important to understand that the subconscious mind stores every word ever spoken and every belief ever accepted. Much of what a person experiences today is the harvest of seeds planted unconsciously in the past. Childhood programming, cultural conditioning, and years of negative self-talk have created deep grooves in the subconscious. But those grooves can be rewritten. The spoken word, when combined with faith, acts like water over stone, persistent, powerful, transformative. The more you speak truth, the more the old patterns dissolve. The more you declare abundance, the less hold scarcity has over your consciousness. Faith-filled declarations must be specific, positive, and present tense. The subconscious responds best to words like, "I am," "I have," and "is." When you say, "I will be rich someday," you keep wealth in the future forever out of reach. But when you say, "I am wealthy now," you pull the experience into the present, where creation happens. Even if the outer world hasn't caught up yet, the declaration acts as a magnet, drawing all needed resources, ideas, and opportunities toward you. The subconscious does not argue with appearances, it acts on what it hears and feels. Declare what you desire as if it already is, and reality will begin to reflect it. Another critical element of faith-filled declarations is consistency. The subconscious responds to repeated instruction. One declaration may plant the seed, but continued speaking nourishes and strengthens it. Every time you declare, "I am favored," "I am successful," "Money comes to me easily and freely," you reinforce the neural and energetic pathways that support that truth. And with enough reinforcement, a tipping point is reached. Your identity shifts. You no longer hope for success, you expect it. You no longer wait for abundance, you walk in it. You no longer seek external approval. You move from internal certainty. There is also immense power in combining faith-filled declarations with visualization. When you speak a truth and simultaneously imagine it fulfilled, you multiply its impact on the subconscious. The mind thinks in pictures. When you say, "I live in a beautiful home," and clearly see yourself walking through its rooms, touching the walls, breathing in the atmosphere, your subconscious accepts it more quickly than words alone. When you declare, "My business is thriving," and feel the joy of success, the gratitude of satisfied clients, and the freedom of financial ease, you create a multidimensional imprint that activates both the inner and outer forces of creation. Faith-filled declarations are also an antidote to fear. Fear is simply inverted faith, a belief in the power of negative outcomes. When fear arises, it is a signal to speak truth, to declare, "Nothing can be against me. Every obstacle is an opportunity. Divine timing governs my life," is to neutralize fear and re-establish the dominance of spirit. Declarations do not deny the presence of challenges, they transcend them. They lift the speaker above the facts into the realm of truth, where miracles are not exceptions but expressions of divine law. It is not necessary to understand the mechanics of how your declaration will manifest. The how is the domain of divine intelligence. Your role is to speak the what with faith, and the universe will unfold the how in perfect sequence. This requires trust, a letting go of the need to control every step, and a deep knowing that what you have spoken in faith is already accomplished in the invisible. Delay is not denial, it is simply alignment unfolding. Continue to speak, continue to believe. The declaration has already been heard. The seed is already growing. Sometimes people say, "I've tried affirmations and they didn't work." But often they did not speak from faith, They spoke from doubt. They repeated words while entertaining the exact opposite belief in their hearts. Or they gave up after a few days, expecting instant results. The law does not respond to lip service. It responds to conviction. You must speak as one with authority, as one who knows. Your words are not begging, they are commanding. You are not hoping, you are establishing. The moment you declare with faith, something shifts. The atmosphere around you changes. Doors begin to open. People begin to move. Circumstances begin to rearrange, all in service to the word you have spoken. The word is the wand. The voice is the tool. Faith is the fuel. When these three combine, spoken word, inner conviction, and spiritual law, transformation is inevitable. You become the architect of your experience, the master of your fate. Not by striving but by speaking. Not by force, but by faith. Every day, every moment, you are writing the script of your life with your words. And when those words are saturated with faith, the story they create becomes one of power, prosperity, peace and purpose. Vibration precedes manifestation. Become the wealth before you see the wealth. Everything in the universe is energy, and every form of matter, every result, every experience begins first as a vibration. That vibration is set not by what you do but by what you are. It is not about effort but essence. What you are vibrating is what you are inviting. To become wealthy in the outer world, you must first attune yourself to the frequency of wealth in the inner world. That means cultivating a state of being that matches the experience you wish to create. You do not wait for money to feel rich, you feel rich to attract money. You do not wait for luxury to feel deserving, you feel deserving and then luxury appears. The energy must come first, the embodiment must come first. The inner shift must happen before the outer reflects it. Everything you desire is already available in the realm of the unseen. Wealth, success, influence, opportunity, they all exist in vibrational form, waiting to be tuned into. The question is not whether the abundance exists, but whether you are vibrating in harmony with it. When you constantly feel lack, fear, or frustration, your vibration sends a signal that repels the very things you want. But when you consciously raise your frequency to match that of abundance, through joy, gratitude, certainty, and faith, you become magnetic. The things you used to chase begin to find you. People are drawn to you, ideas light up in your mind, synchronicities occur, you step into the flow of divine supply, and your needs are met often before you even speak them. This is the secret that so many overlook, that the state of your being is the true cause, and the experiences of your life are the effect. Changing your thoughts temporarily may lift your mood, but to truly alter your vibration, you must shift your identity. You must embody wealth as a natural state, not a distant goal. Ask yourself daily, how does a wealthy person think? How do they feel when they wake up? How do they speak about money? How do they carry themselves? How do they give? How do they receive? Then begin to live in alignment with those answers now, not someday. The vibration of wealth is not in the amount you have. It is in the way you are. If you vibrate scarcity, you will experience scarcity even if you receive money. If you vibrate abundance, you will experience wealth even before the world sees it. Vibration is not just about repeating affirmations or visualizing a better life. It is about living from the inside out. It is about becoming the version of yourself that already has what you desire. When you do this sincerely and consistently, the world rearranges itself to mirror your frequency. Opportunities arise that match your new identity. Resources appear because you are now aligned with their presence. You no longer repel wealth with low-frequency beliefs and emotions. Instead, you become a clear channel through which wealth flows naturally and freely. It is not about deserving, it is about resonating. The universe does not respond to desperation, it responds to vibration. And the highest vibration is knowing. Knowing that what you desire is already yours, already here, already done. To become the wealth before you see the wealth, you must let go of the lie that you are separate from it. You must dissolve the illusion of waiting. Waiting is rooted in the belief that you lack something now. But in spiritual truth, you are one with infinite supply. There is no separation, only perception. The moment you believe that wealth is in the future, you postpone it. But when you believe it is already here, and you act from that belief, the vibration shifts, your decisions change. Your energy becomes magnetic, you speak with authority, you move with power, you radiate confidence, and others feel it. The universe responds to your inner conviction with outer confirmation. This inner state must be nurtured daily. You must feed it with truth, with gratitude, with beauty, with spiritual practice. Begin your day by entering the feeling of already having everything you desire. Feel the joy of it. Feel the peace. Let that feeling saturate your cells, your breath, your thoughts. Refuse to allow appearances to drag you into low vibration. Appearances are temporary echoes of past thoughts. Do not argue with them. Do not fear them. Override them with a deeper knowing. Declare to yourself, I am wealthy now. I am abundant now. All my needs are met now. I walk in prosperity now. This is not delusion. It is alignment with the invisible truth that shapes the visible world. You are always emitting a signal. And that signal is read by people, by circumstances, and by the universal law. You cannot fake vibration. You may say the right words, but if your energy contradicts them, the vibration wins. That is why spiritual integrity is key. You must believe what you say. You must feel what you affirm. You must embody what you seek. And when you do, you begin to live in a different reality. Not because the world outside you has changed, but because you have. And once you change, the world has no choice but to reflect you. You attract not what you want, but what you are. And what you are is determined by what you consistently think, feel, and believe. Rising your vibration to match wealth also means releasing low-frequency habits. Complaining, worrying, judging, doubting. All of these pull you out of alignment. You cannot vibrate at the level of abundance while entertaining thoughts of failure or unworthiness. The two are incompatible. Choose your inner state as deliberately as you would choose your clothing. Cultivate joy, peace, gratitude, expectation, and clarity. These emotions lift you into the frequency where wealth lives. And from that space, you begin to see possibilities where others see problems. You begin to feel supported where others feel alone. You begin to experience miracles where others see lack. Not because you are lucky, but because you are aligned to become the wealth before you see the wealth. You must treat your inner state as sacred. Guard it from negativity. Protect it from doubt. Feed it with truth. Surround yourself with people and environments that support your higher vibration. Speak only words that reflect your new identity. Act only in ways that confirm your abundance. Give generously, knowing that you are tapped into infinite supply. Receive graciously, knowing that you are worthy. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop explaining your desires. Stand in the knowing that your wealth benefits others, inspires others, uplifts others. Your abundance is not selfish. It is spiritual responsibility expressed. The more you commit to vibrating wealth now, the faster your reality transforms. Not through force, but through resonance. Not through striving, but through embodiment. The energy you emit is always returned. If you emit lack, you receive lack. If you emit faith, you receive provision. If you emit confidence, you receive support. You are not separate from what you seek. You are simply either aligned with it or not. And alignment is a choice. A choice to shift inward, to rise higher, to walk by faith, to live from the unseen truth rather than the seen illusion. Manifestation is not a future event. It is a present alignment. Your wealth is already here in energetic form, waiting for your vibration to match it. The moment you become it, feel it, trust it, and live from it, the seen must bow to the unseen. Reality must bend to your frequency. Doors must open. Resources must appear. Life must align. Because the law is perfect, and the vibration always precedes the manifestation.